Hi, welcome to Women Plus Work podcast, where we're showcasing amazing women who are doing extraordinary work in their careers, whether student, professional, entrepreneur, changing the future. My name is 𝘄𝘄𝘄𝘁, and joining me is my co-host, 𝘄𝘄𝘄𝘁.
Thank you, Pindi. So today's episode is brought to you by Suitable Focus, which is a business that is focused on tailoring your business need. It has strategic management as well as helping you guys shape your business by giving you expert business consulting, as well as giving you ways of how to improve your professional as well as your website and different web designs. We thank them for the support for allowing us to have this episode today. We are empowered and we are hoping to give you guys great value from the content that we'll be providing. I'll hand over to Pindi.
Today, we have our special guest, Khanya Gobe. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Pindi. Yes, I'm Khanya, as you said, and I'm a software developer. And I've been working for almost 3 years now in a startup company, and I focus more on the front. And I'm looking forward to see how this conversation that we're going to have here in this podcast can actually lead to, and what we can learn from each other.
Thank you, Kanye, for joining us. So one question I have in mind for you, just to kick us off into our conversation, is what is the one thing that's happened this week in tech that's kind of sparked an interest for you?
There's something that I was just scrolling through, and I saw this so interesting. There's no way, and it's basically about this tech in China. You know how China is very advanced,
yes.
and you know what they're doing. They actually have AI in the classrooms at schools, and they put it like you see the board
Yes.
on top of the board so that they'll be able to see all the children in the classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And what that AI does is it reads every learner's faces, and it will basically analyze and see if the student is happy, sad, or concentrated in the class, and then it will basically create reports for that student. Like, okay, I can see the student maybe performed well, but if you just have a look at their concentration and focus in class, this is how they're participating in class. This is they don't focus too much, and then that will basically generate what could be the cause of the child to not do so well in the classroom.
Yes.
Which is great, by the way. I feel like we should have this.
Sounds interesting. I think for me, from what you said, it kind of poses a little bit of a, I don't know if I want to say clarification. As much as I feel it's bringing a lot of value, actually, because from my experience in the work that I do, you kind of have to take feedback on how each person is doing in terms of not just the technical work of it, but now, the privacy part of it, like who has access to the kind of what can the information be used? Because I think my concern was something that is kind of holding me back from actually interacting with AI on a much greater scale, or like before coming with information is who has access to this information, what are they using it for? So that's just the major concern I have for myself. I mean, really, there's some I don't know if you would have any.
Yeah.
The excitement and the skill, and also just to add, like looking at where we are in South Africa, thinking is it something we can adjust to? When it comes to South Africa and well, and then like need to take in general, because it's all like very slow when it comes to such things.
Yeah, it is really important, and as we know that the AI, like it's a big thing nowadays. I think we need to look at things and because AI, yes, is doing amazing. Also, like there is, as Polisa said, there is other things that we need to be careful of. You see, firstly for South Africa, I think we are getting there, but we are not there yet. As most of the people I think yes, we are trying, but then most of the people they don't know how to use the AI. They don't have more information about that. And for China, yes, but also there is a consensus. As like everything, there's always a bad side. You see, and then it's kind of scary sometimes to actually go and think deeper about the things like AI and everything. You see, yeah, I know that we use it every day. Do you use it for like your work, maybe in software development?
Not
And
not currently.
okay,
You know, through the conversation with clients, they do sometimes bring it up because that's a trend. You know,
Yeah.
they will ask you in any tech company, if a client goes, like have a meeting with the client, they will ask you that question for some of them. And it's not all about what AI can do, but it's about what the client wants.
Okay.
So currently, we are still thinking about how we can use AI into the software that we are building, where I work. But currently, we're just trying to find if it's going to bring so much value to the client in terms of how they're going to use the software for. Because it's not about, because we're a tech company, doesn't mean that we should have AI built into it. It's all about building it for the client. So currently don't use AI or build something within integration of the AI as well. But it's definitely something that we'll do in the future. Yeah.
So like for you, like your personal life, would you actually use it? Because for me, I run the organization, so most of the time, like to cut time, if I'm writing a proposal, maybe I'm gonna use it, and then obviously you need to give it a prompt and then you write something.
Right.
Yeah, before when I started, actually I didn't know how to use it. I would just copy the whole thing, which is wrong. But now, you see, I actually know now how to use it in a way. So do you think, as a person or a human being, because for me, I think that we get so limited. If you too focus, like you're always using AI, so now you end up not like using your mind most of the time. So you depend to AI. And that's to the space that I'm in, because we have students and everything. So for me, it's always like when they're learning, is it okay for them to use AI? Or like, that's the question that I have, because it's either they're gonna just use it for everything and then they don't actually use their mind to be creative thinkers, you see, and solve these problems. So what are you thinking about that?
AI is great. You know, when I think of AI, you know, back then we used to think that AI is like another human, like it's going to take over.
Yeah,
But if you think about it today, if you ask someone what is AI, they won't say that. They won't talk about robots. They will talk about something that generates maybe text, images, which is great in terms of how we define AI as the years go by and based on what we've seen so far. And in terms of the students, you know, AI being in education, you know, it's good at some point because AI is more analytical thinker as well. Because how AI works is that it just has this certain set of information and it uses its layers to maybe generate something that you've asked for, right? And if a learner is using that, I mean, it's good, but at the same time, it depends on how the learner is using it as well. Like, for instance, as you've just said, sometimes you go to ChatGPT, ask for whatever that you want, and then it gives you exactly what you needed, and you're like, I don't need to edit this. I'm just going to take the whole thing.
Perfect. I'm just gonna use this.
Exactly. I mean, do you even read it? Surely you read it, but you're like, okay, no, it's fine. I'm just going to copy it and then paste it through. So if maybe you take that and then maybe send it to wherever you send it to, maybe to a client, and then let's say you're in a meeting with a client now, and then they ask you questions, a lot of questions based on what you just sent them. You'll be able to answer all of those questions. So it's when you're using the AI, you need to be able to use it as an inspiration in terms of if you're looking at what has been generated, you'll say, okay, I can see that they pointed out these points here and there and there. And there. That means I should do the same thing. Maybe just use it as an example. You know, at school when they give you like letters and then they give you templates of the letters. So you need to come up with your own story in terms of how are you going to formulate your letter and what the story is going to be about and what you're going to say, having the mind map and all of that. So it should be the same thing with the students as well. Of course, there should be like, because AI is now public, like ChatGPT is very public. Anyone can have access to it. You can't be like, you can't have access to that, which is a very tricky part about it. Because even those students, I remember, I can tell you a story. So I have a friend who's a teacher, and I saw her, she was sitting down in a cafe together, and she was marking some papers, right? It was an essay. And those essays, it has like few blocks with the scoring, and then she has to take some of the scores. And she was like, ay. I'm like, what is it? She's like, I'm like, is everything okay? It's like, these kids are using AI. And then I was like, how do you know that? Because a teacher is not only just someone that teaches, the lesson, but also understands the students. There's a little bit of psychology into it. And so she was like, I don't think the student can be able to write that. There's no way. You see, she's like, I don't even think that even that word they will understand what it means. That's also another thing. Because if the student are just copying it, then that means they're not really thinking and be able to understand what should be the next sentence and how to formulate sentences as well. I think there's a positive and negative side of it, depending on how we use it and how maybe the education as well, thinking of how we would be able to detect if the student is using this or is using that. So there's a lot of effort that needs to be put into, a lot of thought and unity that needs to be done in order to see what should be done for the students. And I think there's also like plagiarism, of course. Like in university, I'm sure I've never been to university before, so I don't know like what do they check. But I'm sure there is some way in terms of how they do it. Maybe that can be done as well. So that they can help the student. It's not really about the student to do everything fast. That's the first thing that we think about. We go to AI because we don't want to think. We don't want to put much. We want things to be quick. Something in 10 minutes. Exactly. So that you don't have to like worry too much. Like in terms of, I feel like it helps us as well to not procrastinate. Because you're like, okay, there's 8 gestures. I can just quickly go and copy the done 20 minutes, and then you're okay. Because things are getting quicker now. To get information. So, but, I think it's someone said to me, it's just AI. It's just AI. It's whoever has it in their hand. That's how the outcome of it. It's dependent on the person.
Yes, exactly. I just love. I think this conversation can go on for the whole day. Definitely get out. And I like how we just started with this. So Khanya, I just want us to step back a bit because I feel like for our viewers as well as ourselves, I want to get to know you better. Kind of like what drew you into the industry, how you got where you are now. Eventually, we can go to philosophy, which is what we talk about. There's the what is this conclusion or the fact that for me to get any good job, I need to go to high school, varsity, and then not really far. But now, majority of us, including myself, and myself. So all of us never went the traditional way of getting it, getting the so we can go better like.
So what got me into tech? Funny, it was because I don't want to tell you. So my brother was like, "Hey, you're so good." It was me. I don't want him to kind of like have that ego, like maybe. But we so I had a friend, right? He's been my friend. We went to high school together. So I went to COSET, Center of Science and Technology in Kaizen. And they teach, so we all do the same subject, everyone. They don't choose. We do pure maths, IT, we do that. So that they can accommodate our students as well. IT, coding software. And so what happened is, because I was in grade 10, that's where you start learning IT. Okay, nice. And I was still in grade 8, right? So I had no idea about coding. I hear it here and there, but I'm like, okay, I have no idea. But my other friend, he's like nosy. He's like, okay, I'm doing coaching. I'm doing this. I'm already learning about it. And we were just sitting in the room and we're just talking. Then my brother was doing a homework. And he was in grade 10.
Oh, okay.
So he was doing coding and all of that. And he was like, hey, my friend. He was like, oh, you're doing coding. We're like, yeah, I'm doing coding. That's my brother responding to my friend. And they were talking and then they were looking at the screen and they were like, wow, this is how you do it. And I'm looking at the screen, I'm like, I see colors, I see I see this. What is this? And then my brother's actually making fun of me, like, you won't be able to understand this language.
Oh, yeah.
No, I feel left out. And because I was someone who's so curious, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn this thing. I'm gonna, no matter how, but I will make sure that I do well and I know it so that I can prove my brother wrong. And when I started doing it, I waited up until I get to meeting. And I was like, okay, this is the coding thing now. I need to be focused and learn it so that I can show that my brother I actually know this language. And so as I started learning more and more about coding, I was drawn into it. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And I got the opportunity to actually be invited to those who code.
Okay.
And code space as well. Where they actually teach you about robotics and be able to program the robot to do certain things. I think that's what also made me to kind of more drawn into it. Because you see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you put it in
Robotics, I was very impressed.
Exactly. And so that's how I basically started my journey. And then in terms of me not going to university, I used to be someone who loves reading books so much. So when you're reading books, and I used to stay at home, so it's like you're building your own. How can I put it? Your own role, and it's not like you are neglecting in terms of what other people are doing. But what I used to read a lot of non-fiction books so hard. So when you're reading proper books, like I don't need this. I can motivate myself. I have the discipline. I have the good attitude. I can just do it myself. I can just learn, do online. It's Udemy that is giving. That is for free. Yeah, and cheap as well. I don't have to spend 3 years in university. I'm like, oh, I'm very impatient. I can work for 3 years to finally get a job and be in the industry. And so, I decided not to go. And my parents, I told them they were so, they were because I was the kid that used to go to 100 Up. I'm not sure if you know about the program at UCT. We always go to UCT every Saturday. They're like, wow, my kid is going to go to UCT. Whoa, this is amazing. So yeah, those are the expectations. But unfortunately, I had to bring it up to them. Like, okay, I have to, because I didn't want to say that I'm not going to university because I want to do something. Well, I just thought, okay, I'm not a kid. I took the highest one that I know that I won't be able to get in there. So no, my trick. I don't think I will get to that point. And I was not accepted. I showed them the email. They're like, oh no, shit. So what are you gonna do? I'm like, I have an idea. Just trust that I will get to respond to something.
Do they understand what you're doing?
They do understand, but they don't understand. Because I think they do understand, it's the only thing that they understand most is that, okay, I see. Okay, good things.
Yeah.
And obviously they care about their money. Okay.
Yeah,
Their money. Awesome. And then when I saw the trip, the whole 2 months, I spent on a I was more interested in the bedroom. I gave myself it, which is an object passport. So that's why generally because I was more comfortable in that space. And then after 3 months, I realized I'm not losing, I'm just learning. It should be something I should do this time. And then that's when I got to life courses. I spent 6 months learning the basics, front end and the back end. And then after 6 months, that's when I went to Italy. And I got my first job. Yeah. Yes, so I've been working there for more than 2 years now. It's going to be 3 years in October.
So it's your first job.
It's my first job. It's my first job. And it's going great. You know, when parents, because I was so young, I started working when I was 19 years old.
Oh wow.
And my parents were so worried because of the experience. Because in those times and where they work, like their bosses are not keeping them. They crowded them, they go ahead and like, oh my child is going to experience the same thing at this young age. Oh now 33 like that. You know, and then I think I have to go anyway. You know, it's something you know, I need to provide, I need to be independent. I'm 19, you know, I can't depend on you guys and money, like I don't like that. And then that's when so when over these years, my boss is like the nicest person ever. And she's like, wow, Khanya, you're liking it. I'm like, but it's wonderful. It's like the space helps, like it also helps people grow. Because if it wasn't for my boss being someone who understands, because he also and coding in his time, in his own time. He's such an amazing person because he understands things like we work on student mistakes. We want to even go through the system.
When you're a junior and then it's your first job, you break.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the company is supposed to allow that because you learn by breaking.
They should. But as long as you work smart, you have a backup.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have a backup for sure. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
So it sounds like you have a great company that's really hands on, which is something I would say I never got to experience for me.
Yeah.
So we're quite really fortunate. You're one of the few of us who got to get
Exactly.
a great kickstart as your first job, and we've managed to maintain it for so long. I think my next question would be, so for me, in the recent years, one thing I started to look at in terms of going into any job as a tech, I always look at how the company's values align with my own ones. And also in terms of, like you say, the mentoring and growing is something that you've experienced, and you still feel like they are still in line with yours in terms of the company where you want to see yourself in the next few months.
Sorry. For most of the startups, they have like a small team. So you have to work to all departments. So how is that on your side? Like, do you focus on the front end or do you also work to something else?
So that's always something that I recommend to people starting their career. Yeah. So it's better to go for a startup because of that. Because you're not limiting yourself. The company is not limiting yourself. You're able to try this, you're able to try that, and see, oh, okay, oh, wow, I'm actually really good at this. Let me try that. Like for myself, you know, I really like big end more. But I was like, okay, I will take the offer. Okay. And then when I started doing front end, I was like, wow, I hated this, and now look, I'm actually loving it. And then not only that, I had to also focus on design because we had no design product designer. So they had to be someone who can take over that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a Udemy course. I'm gonna learn about designing and attend some free events that are happening in Cape Town. And so just surrounding myself with people who are doing the same things and asking them questions. So I like to do them. How do you do this? Like, how does an app from an idea, from words, turn into building in Figma? And so it's always quite interesting to also have a good look on myself, because sometimes we don't care about design as long as the the feature is working.
Exactly.
And this is
I don't care about the design. Those are always the words that always would rub me up the wrong way. I honestly feel like majority of all these spaces or bootcamps that people do, there isn't a lot of focus on the front end. I'm a very visual learner, so it's something that drew my attention.
Okay.
When it comes to your prototypes, I do not care if processes payments and I can do all of the things.
Yeah.
Is not what it's supposed to be, or it's not giving me the correct interactions, or I don't feel aligned or drawn to it. it doesn't make sense for me. Do not focus on the functionality and the fancy stuff, authenticating stuff, but now the actual essence of, as the customer, when I land on your page, what am I seeing? Is it easy for me to see, oh, if I click it?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something that's really lacking. And a lot of people I've seen, they just focus on the back end. Like, oh, the functions are database doing these things, but now what does the person see who lands on your app? When I open the app, like, what am I seeing? And then drawing me to say, okay, I want to know more. I'm clicking, do all of these things. So I love hearing that.
Yeah.
From the design. Something that it is there. There are people there, but there isn't a lot of people who want to focus on that and actually own their skills and watch.
Yeah, and
The next thing.
I didn't care about that, about the design and everything. But then I have an app that I had to build. And then I'm still stuck, it's still there. Because of the design. Okay, today I'll be happy. Okay, I think I like that and the colors and all that. I'm not so good with colors. And then tomorrow, no, this is so bad. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna finish this app. So I think Khanya is gonna help me on this. I'm so happy that you are pleased with the design. So I'm really happy.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. You see, the thing about creating your own app is everything's on you. Everything's on you. And when it comes to building an app, sometimes because you have an idea, you'll think that, oh, let me just build it. But you don't think about who is going to make it. Like, who should I build an app? Like, what would you need? How would you want it? That's, I feel like that's the thing. That's why most of the apps are always delayed because you don't have the time or you don't go and ask the people like what exactly do you need and all of that. Because if you have all of that in one place, like the MVP, create an MVP. Sometimes you're like, okay, the project is project, why not do all of it? But that's the thing. I feel like the best ideas are still out there, but people are just taking it as a side project.
Yeah.
So I
There's
think
so many side projects.
so many side projects.
You start a project and then there's comes another idea and okay, let me start this and then
Right.
like now you have all this until you see it, someone building it and then like, damn, that's my and then that was my idea. Oh my gosh. They have all the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Khanya, you're well versed to say the least. I think I'm very fortunate to have been. So I think my next question I would ask. So for me, I know I have reasons why I got into tech. So fell in love with it. But now looking at I would call it the pipeline or how a lot of us are getting into tech, but we're really not. There isn't any fruitful ends or we're not getting to the jobs that we want. In terms of your impact, what would you say your aim is in regards to helping with growing the industry, having more incentives, anything that you're doing or working on around?
There are people that I'm speaking to who are still trying to find jobs. But, most people who are still trying to find jobs, they don't focus on continuing to improve themselves. So that's where I step in and be able to mentor them. Like, okay, do this project, go to your portfolio website, improve it, add more projects in there, and then send it out to every company. Or maybe just go to the city company and see their website this and you can write something and send it to them, and then they'll be able to respond to you because they see that you have an eye, that you know how to fix things, and showing your value and what value you can bring to the company. So it's more like a consultation, basically. Not only a consultation, but being able to support them because if they don't find a job, they might feel like, oh, I'm not interested. But you speaking to them, understanding how they're feeling, you know how to help them instead of just you giving them consultation. And it's not always about me telling them what to do. It's always about me just listening to them, asking them questions so that they can give the answers. Answers will come from them. It's not from me. It's just that they need to break the barrier of how they feel. else they want. So in terms of in 5 years' time, I'm actually hoping to, because I believe that through changing and empowering women is through one-on-one and through helping them and see how how they grow. I mean, it's a good thing that you also have a group of people, maybe like an organization that can help women to come together. I mean, that would be great. Maybe just hosting events for women. I mean, there's already a lot of events happening, right? The only thing that is not there is the women having sitting down with the women and asking how they, see how they can support them. Maybe their workspace is only male, and how do they be confident in that space?
You mentioned, so when you spoke for me, it really flips off the equation that it's not only focusing on the tech itself, but also on the person in terms of how they hold themselves in the workspace, how they present, how they deal with things. My next question, or I don't know if it's a question or rather a statement, what are your thoughts in regards to like shaping people in a holistic setting, in the sense of saying you're a holistic developer, but you're not just only with technical skills, but now in terms of understanding what are my values, understanding how to operate in different situations, actually looking back at the impact I have in terms of the environment and that impacts me as a person, exactly big myself. Is that something that is in the space? Because now it's still on focus on the tech, that is going to be the project, but now when I am stepping into this company, removing myself.
So software developers, there's some connection there with software developers. It's like when you meet a group of people, like there's already a connection because we're talking, because we know like okay, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
There's always like click of people, like it's like they know each other for a very long time already. I don't know why, but that's how it is basically with some of the events that I went to so far. But in terms of the workspace, right? I think as much as some people will feel like not confident in terms of what if, okay, maybe there's a certain field will make it work. And this way I have to go to church, like some people have to go to church, like some Muslims are trying you could be enjoying faith, right? And so you need to define your values first. What is my value? Okay, based on the time that I have here, what is it that might make you to feel not comfortable in the space? What could be the possibility? So setting all of those up and knowing what it is, you'll be able to know how to respond and being open as well. Like if you're not open, what's gonna help you? Because you don't know what you are going to react. And sometimes emotions, when you're in that moment, you say things that you never thought that you would say. And when you put in such a distressed situation, like you don't know, especially the workspace. In a workspace, like they really look at you, like how you need to respond to certain things. If you respond in a certain way, then it might lead you to even losing your job, get a warning. And I think it's always great to just speak, um, even like get a conversation and see how can you handle certain situations at work. Looking at each people that you see who you're working with, you'll know, okay, this person is this type of person, this person is this type of person. Okay, I can see this one is going to be a problem. I can see, he's like into everyone's face, like who wants to know everything about him. When he says this thing, like I remember there was a time, so this developer is such a great developer. It's, when I started working there with this company, so I used to work with him in this app. He's like a mentor, helping me to understand different things. And he's like the mentor that will tell you the truth. Like, if that thing is like nonsense, tell you, hey, this is nonsense. Then you lose that thing. Why did you do that? Start over. And he's also someone who believes that you cannot just give someone an answer. I know that I'm a mentor. I'm not going to give you answers. I'm going to ask you questions so that you'll be able to think of what could be the issue. Because you're an intern, I'm not supposed to give you answers. You need to find things for yourself. And he'll be like, every time if you have a meeting with him, you need to formulate everything. I've done research, this and this and this. I've tried this and this and that. If you do not do that, it's like, I'm not gonna come here. I'm not gonna join the call. So that's basically, you need to speak. The only thing that will help is for you to speak. If you don't, they don't know you. They don't know what on the ground. If you just keep quiet, that's not the solution. So that's what I think. Just if you just speak. For you to speak requires you to have confidence.
So I just wanted to ask quickly, just to run it back to what you said. Okay, for someone who's inexperienced with coding, programming, whatever, I'm very against AI because I feel like more than anything, it sets us back. People are not able to like do things to their full potential because they know that AI is there. For example, you mentioned ChatGPT. There's Meta AI now that is useful. Like people don't even go to therapy now because they're like, yeah, I have AI whom I can speak to, like the personal AI, of which I feel like in most instances it kinds of it's like a boundary that is between us and like moving to success because we kind of we it's something we don't realize, but we're kind of limited as to what we can do because of AI. We limit ourselves. But you also mentioned something that was very profound when you said, well, someone said to you, it's not about, it's just AI. What matters is who has it and how they use it. But like, do you feel like there could be something that could be done to maybe limit the accessibility of having AI to make sure that people don't really use it in ways that were not intended for that AI? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. It depends, actually, because it is already public, and anyone can lie. Like, no, I'm just in terms of having access. When you say access, it means that knowing that uses information and being able to see, okay, this person, okay, they're 18, so this, you have access to this. Anyone can lie. Of course, we do that. When someone says, okay, you're 20, you're like 30 something, but still, Google already has that information for sure. So maybe with that information that Google has, they'll be able to show, okay, have this information of this user, and everyone has Google. Everyone has Google. Except, they might be using their mouth. And so they know the age, the birth, their birthdays, and birthday, and all of that information. So if you use that data and be able to see if the user will have access to it, because in the AI you have to sign in. So when you sign in and have the email, have this, and be able to know who that user is. But of course, it also comes with people as well, security. Like, I don't want to see this person. That's why even iPhone as well, if there's this pop-up that comes up about you want us to check. So it should be the user's choice, you see, so that we can make it more like a user can, if they want to share or not. There's also like a Generate. There's a company from UK. So what they do is that there's these websites, using cookies to get users information. They use that information to get money, right? So they're like, that's not fair because that's your information. You're supposed to get some money from that, out of that, exactly. And so it's basically about the user being able to have the heart to share, right? So it's very tricky because it's not about the AI having accessibility, but it's also the user as well. To be able to have that restriction, we need to first ask the user if you want to share the data that you have from Google, and before you be able to get access to it. Most people are going to say yes because I need to use AI. I need to use AI, which is great. I mean, that way that would work. There was something that was shared which was very, very interesting. This person said that he's called the father god of AI. So this guy said the AI is not created. It is created by us, but we don't know it. Because the only thing that we've done with AI is that we've created learning algorithms.
Yes.
And when you put learning algorithms with data, you don't know what is going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
So even developers who develop this AI, they're getting shocked, like, wow, it can do this. Because all of the layers, right, they are the ones that determine, okay, this is how, like, the if statements, if I can put it like that. Similar to they will go down the layers, and if the weakest layer is going to be removed, and then the ones that are true, like for instance, there was this AI robot which integrated with AI, of course, and so they were given a ball, right? So, like, okay, the only thing you should do is this ball. That were the instructions. They don't know how to play soccer and how to kick the ball. They had to learn because of the algorithm that was set for them to learn. And through the layers, the weakest ones they removed. And if they say, okay, you kick that ball straight to the pipe, to the poles, right? Then that's where it gets strongest. And they were not instructed in terms of how to play the game. But because of all the learning algorithm, they were able to know how to play, which is very interesting. We never know, like, a learning algorithm putting data together, what they produce. And I think that's the scary part about it.
Yeah, I remember in 2018, like, when we were watching a movie, and I said, nah, this movie is when as developers that you can say just give out to go then time. So it just so now it's like a different thing.
Funny enough, when you say about the if statement, the thing is, what's more scary is if the AI is able to edit itself, the code, and be like, okay, if this happens and there's no neural layer, they can add more layers by themselves and edit. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Scary thing
Fixing
about
themselves.
exactly that feeling themselves like we're saying learning. And I think just the thought every time you get the same learning algorithm on this data, because every day people are just every single day. So there's a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it has so much information, there's a lot to do. That even like you say, the developers themselves, the growth is just exponential base. You don't know which way it might go.
Yeah.
Each and every day.
I mean, the more people use it, the more it's.
Oh, thank you, Khanya, so much for joining us and for the insights and your experience. To really like a great conversation that we had here with you.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, like I did say earlier, I felt like our conversation could go on for longer, but it would be definitely great to continue this conversation offline and just get to pick your brain a bit more. So we just thank you for coming onto the show and allowing us to share you and the amazing knowledge that you have with the rest of the viewers that we have on the show.
To our listeners, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on our social media platforms for the updates for our next episodes.
And if you guys have any suggestions or questions or even topics that you would like us to speak about, feel free to reach us and let us know what you guys want.
Yeah, don't forget Suitable Folk has checked them out to help you with your technical needs as a business or individuals as well. Until then, stay innovative and inspired.